Wine and Crime contains graphic and explicit content which may not be suitable for some listeners. Listener discretion is advised.
Listening to Wine and Crime, the podcast where three friends chug wine, chat true crime, and unleash their worst Minnesotan accents.
You know it.
Yeah. And have very public mental breakdowns when called for.
Aren't we all about that?
Yeah.
Is your car in public?
Well, not
really. Well, my windows are a little bit tinted.
Mm-hmm.
It's also a one-way street, so like the car is
driving.
Privacy. For listeners, I may or may not have just cried in my car for an hour today while my daughter napped.
You got to do what you got to do.
That's completely
That's effective
legit.
use of time.
Mm-hmm.
It was.
That's good time management.
I also just like to cry in a car.
I love crying in the car.
It's way more satisfying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love crying in the car, and I love crying in the shower. Because it just washes away.
Usually I have too many steps that I'm doing in the shower.
Fair.
Can't focus on the cry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. It's like it's exfoliating and it's a lot.
It's a lot. Sometimes I skip those steps and just cry and then basic washing.
The air is so still in a car.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the music just sounds better.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, you have the illusion of privacy.
It all hits right. It all hits right.
It really does.
Yep.
There's something about it.
Happy for you.
Thanks.
Yeah.
So anyway,
who are we?
I'm Kenyon. I encourage a good car cry.
I think we know who we all are at this point of the conversation.
I might have lost the thread.
Who knows?
I'm Lucy.
I'm Amanda.
Mm-hmm.
Woo!
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of crying in cars,
I
was driving up to Minnesota a few weeks ago and I ran over a squirrel on 35. Why?
You did.
Why there was a squirrel on 35? Have I already told you this?
You told me when we had dinner at Monte Carlo.
Oh my God. I burst into tears and cried. And then once you start crying on a long drive, it's really hard to stop.
That's true.
So I cried for at least an hour. Active crying.
I saw a squirrel get hit by a car on Cedar Avenue the other day, but he made it. He limped off the road. His tail was a little jacked up, though.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's not great.
I felt my car go all the way.
Oh, God.
You got a history with squirrel roadkill.
Yeah, and what squirrel is on 35? It was
He's
running
sacrificing
across,
himself.
and then he started running back, and that's when I hit him.
The double back will get you.
We made eye contact.
Okay.
It was a homicide. It was a hit and run. I almost pulled over.
I'm really glad you didn't pull over on a busy highway because of a squirrel that you hit.
That you couldn't save.
That you're a very pregnant woman. That would have been a bad call.
I stopped traffic.
Yeah. We must mourn.
A moment of silence for the squirrel.
Jesus Christ.
Cause a 60-car pileup.
Yeah.
Amazing. Amazing.
Anyway.
Glad he made it.
Crying in cars, great.
Really good. That's the topic. Wait, no, it's not.
Crying in
Should
cars
be.
with coffee.
Yeah.
All right. Well, the topic this week is a very special gal's pick. Really a Lucy pick. Kind of out of character Lucy pick, though.
Well,
It's weird, but
I
I'm here
wanted
for
to
it.
examine the evil side.
Okay.
Fair.
There we go. Now we're getting inching closer to an explanation.
Now it's making sense.
Lucy has selected the topic of Disney crimes.
She wants that dark side of Disney.
I think I had just seen something about the secret underground tunnels under Disney like that day.
What?
Where they sneak all the dead people out.
We'll get to it.
Okay. Looking forward to hearing more.
Aren't you, though?
So let's get right to it. Amanda, what is our wine crime pairing for Disney crimes?
Well, there are actually not a ton of wines that are like served at Disney World or land. They are pretty specific and they can be fairly unique and harder to find. And so I first went down a bit of a rabbit hole to look into wines that have been made by people associated with Disney or the Disney family. And no surprise, they are extremely expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's like a niece or a granddaughter or somebody who still has the Disney name, and she is a winemaker in California now, and the cheapest bottle was like $50.
Oh.
And I was like, fuck that, you don't need more money. But I did find a wine company that makes a wine that is sold in the parks that can also be purchased online and in some stores and doesn't break the bank.
Woo!
So the Goldilocks of wine, Disney wine, does exist.
It doesn't break the George Banks.
It does not. And this wine line is called Once Upon a Vine.
Oh,
And
for God's sake.
Here is their story. This is your pick, so we're going to make it count.
So we're doing it to the
Once
max.
upon a vine, there was a grape that believed he could make a beautiful wine. He grew up in the California sun before being picked from his branch and sent to a winery. Here he was pressed for his fruity sweet juices.
He
was
was
aged in
slaughtered.
oak.
His fruity sweet
juices, gathering notes of vanilla and toast, eventually being released into the world as a bottle of, for this particular varietal, red wine. His bottle was stocked onto a shelf at Walt Disney World. And we love a happy ending. So the one I picked, you can get, there's a Big Bad Red Blend, Lost Slipper Sauvignon Blanc,
Oh, I like that.
Villainous Zinfandel, the Fairest Chardonnay,
All the reds are bad and the whites are good.
maybe, Enchanted Woods Bubbly,
Oh.
and Charming Pinot. So we're doing the Pinot Noir, and it looks delicious.
What does the label look like? Is there like a prince on it?
So the labels are they're all really similar. So they're like a nightscape with a crescent moon and a dark forest. And then kind of the theme of whatever the wine is like peeking out from behind one of the trees. Okay. It's very cute.
Oh.
It's very cute. So the Charming Pinot, hold on, I'm looking very closely. There's a version of the label with like a prince and a princess that are dancing, and then there's another version of the label where it's like a prince's hand is coming out from behind a tree, and then he has a pillow with like a glass slipper or a crown or something on it.
I hate every
It's
single
so
thing about
cute,
that.
you guys. It's very Disney. And this is 100% California Pinot Noir. It's very smooth. You get tasting notes of blackberry, cherry, plum, a touch of brown sugar. It's just going to be like super mellow, really low in acidity. Pinot Noirs are not tannic. They're just like really easy drinking middle ground wines. And this is a 12.5% ABV, so it's not going to totally bowl you over or give you awful heartburn. And it's a popper, so you're going to want your nice pop or your XOXO Wine and Crime Gals wine key. I do not have this wine in my possession, so I made myself a Moscow Mule because now I have an ice maker and I'm living my best life.
That's amazing.
But that is my recommended pairing, the Once Upon a Vine Charming Pinot.
Wow.
Aren't we lucky?
Wow, what a time to be alive.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I've been
Correct.
watching a lot of Disney these days.
I bet. Any faves? Any standouts for her?
She loves the Aristocats. I don't know if that's Disney.
I
It's on Disney
love-
Plus right
She
now.
is a cat girl.
She is a cat girl.
Obsessed.
I don't know where it came from. Her father's allergic.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a dog person.
Her father.
Her father. That's a weird. I can't believe I said that way.
So
Anyway.
strange. I loved it.
Yeah. Oh my God. All right. Well, Lucy, what is our background and maybe psych for Disney crimes?
Well, I don't have any psych, but I have a lot of background for us. And we can't talk about Disney without starting with Walter Elias Disney.
Oh.
He was born in Chicago on December 5th, 1901, a Sag. When he was 4 years old, the family moved to a farm in Marceline, Missouri. What a magical sounding place.
Yeah, Marceline.
Marceline.
That's going to top the baby name chart soon enough.
That's cute. And so this is where Walt discovered his passion for drawing by copying the cartoons in the newspaper. He was also like really into trains. And I put that in there just because I feel like kids who are really into trains tend to hyperfixate.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
It's definitely like maybe a flag to have some testing done.
Yeah. Also, Marceline had like a shitload of railroads running through it. So that was just like, he was
Grew up with
really
that
fucking into
entertainment.
trains.
Yeah.
Okay.
When he was 10 years old, they moved to Kansas City, Missouri, where he discovered the world of motion pictures and vaudeville.
Wow. Motion
Wow.
pictures, the moving pictures.
Yes. When he was 17, he forged the birthday on his birth certificate in order to join the military during World War I.
I would have abso-fucking-lutely flipped out if I was his mom. Okay.
Yeah, probably.
Well, the good thing is, and the ironic thing is, he was kind of late. Like they had already like signed the armistice or whatever.
Oh.
So he was sent to France to be an ambulance driver, but to just kind of like, he didn't see a lot of action.
Okay. Well, good for him.
Yeah. And also the ambulance that he got, he decorated the side of it with his cartoons.
Oh my God.
He like drew on his ambulance.
What a Looney Tune.
I know.
That's not Disney. That's Warner Brothers.
Oh my God.
How dare you?
I get it all mixed up.
It's animated. It's close enough.
Careful. All those emails cannot go to me.
I don't care. They're going straight to Derek. Okay. He returned to Kansas City in 1919, the year of the root beer, when Helen was 1 or whatever.
2.
To Amanda, right?
Sure.
When was your grandmother born?
17.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So he returned to Kansas City when Helen was 2 to begin his career as a cartoonist. In 1922, Disney and his friend with a horrible name, Iwerks,
Wait, what?
What?
Well, how do you spell
UB.
No, that's his full name.
I'm pretty sure that's...
But say that again?
It might be
What was his
Oob.
name?
Oob.
Yub?
I'm looking this up.
There's no new way to nub.
I don't know.
Yub.
Okay,
Oob?
it's short for Ubba.
Oh,
which is shorter for Bubba.
No, just you or Ubby. Ubbe. What is his
Uba?
What is this person's background? His name is Ubby Iwerks.
I'm going with
Dutch.
Ub.
He's Dutch.
Okay.
Oh.
Oob.
That explains it.
I get it now.
Iwerks.
I get it now.
What?
So Walt Disney and his pal Ub, who was a gifted animator, founded the Laughogram Films Studio in Kansas City and began producing a series of cartoons based on fables and fairy tales.
Live, laughogram, love.
Walt and Ub.
I'm
I can't
adding
be
a photo
stopped.
of Ub to your photos on the drive.
Thank you.
The
In a
middle name Ert is really getting me.
Ubert.
Ubert.
Bert?
Ert Iwerks. Okay, continue.
Obsessed.
Well, the good thing is he doesn't.
Obsessed.
Obsessed. I don't know that he comes up again, so that's good. In the summer of 1923, Walt Disney arrived in California, with a cartoon about a little girl named Alice in Cartoonland.
Oh.
On October 16th, 1923, the Disney Company started when M.J. Winkler, who was a distributor in New York, was contracted to distribute the Alice comedies. The company was originally known as the Disney Brothers Cartoon Studio because it was run by Walt and his brother Roy, who had already been in California recovering from tuberculosis.
Wow, what a time.
The company later changed its name to Walt Disney Studio, but that wasn't Walt's idea. It was actually Roy's idea, probably because it just sounds better.
It was Ub's idea. Stop taking the spotlight away from Ub. Justice for Ub.
Ub was like around. He was participating in all of this, but
And not getting nearly enough cred.
this is not Ub crime.
He was all up in their business.
All Ub in there. He's just accepting crubs.
He got the short end of the stub.
I cracked myself up.
Okay.
Golly.
This is from my boyfriend, Britannica. In 1927, Walt Disney began his first series of fully animated films featuring the character Oswald the Lucky Rabbit.
A classic to this day.
Yeah, I wonder what that turned into.
But when his distributor appropriated the rights to that character, Walt altered Oswald's appearance and made him a mouse
Knew it.
and created a new character that he named Mortimer Mouse.
Oh, God.
It's hit
It's a
and
real
miss here.
mugful.
And then his wife was like, Mortimer Mouse fucking sucks. Named him.
Thank God there's a woman coming in to be like,
Yeah.
we're editing this.
Yeah.
Children
Your
can't
ideas.
say Mortimer.
Mortimer, you fucking idiot.
So his wife was like, maybe just Mickey Mouse. So that's where Mickey Mouse came from.
Okay.
2 silent Mickey Mouse cartoons called Plain Crazy from 1928 and Gallop and Gaucho from the same year were produced before Disney employed the novelty of sound for the third Mickey production Steamboat Willie,
Okay.
which was the first Mickey cartoon released with sound.
Is that the one where he's like whistling? Like,
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am. There is a
And
picture of
driving
that.
a little boat.
There's a picture of it on the drive.
I think they still use that in a lot of like classic Disney opening credits. It's like a logo now.
Yeah.
My grandpa used to ask me to enrage me as a child if Mickey Mouse was a dog or a cat. And I would get so upset. Because he's a fucking mouse, you raving lunatic.
You fucking idiot.
What are you fucking asking
with
me?
this guy.
This guy's insane.
Well,
I
now
don't
you
feel
could say,
safe.
well, if he were still alive, you could say originally he was a rabbit. Dumbass.
You dumbass. Just kidding. R.I.P. Grandpa, I love you.
I like how much his butt kind of flops around in the cartoons.
Big. He has got back. Mickey
Yeah.
is fucking stacked. Mickey had like a Brazilian butt lift.
You know, I've never really understood Mickey's look.
No. It's not mousy.
It's
It's
not
odd.
mousy. The
Mm-mm.
stick legs and arms.
Mm-hmm.
That's not.
And the glove, he's got gloves and shoes on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
There's
the arm.
nothing really mousy about him.
And what's with the buttons on his underwear pants?
I don't know.
It's like he's supposed to have I almost said stirrups, suspenders, but he never does.
Very
Mhm.
wispy tail,
Mm-hmm.
pointy, weird. I don't get any of it. I don't get it.
I don't understand the question and I won't respond to
Took
it.
a lot of liberties.
Mm-hmm.
But if you go back and look at Walt Disney's like previous cartoons, he definitely has a style.
Mhm. That
But-
we would call bad.
Well, same goes
Questionable.
for his fucking signature, which I always thought was like a backwards G instead of the D.
No, honey. That's a D.
I don't mind the signature, but maybe
Yeah.
I'm just so used to it.
That's a
Yeah.
big old D. I like the big old D too. I like it.
I just think the signature
cute.
when you're young, it doesn't appear like a D.
Sure.
Mhm.
It can be a little confusing, but I seemed to do okay.
Mhm.
So maybe it's just you.
So it's not that hard.
If I could figure it out.
So Steamboat Willie was an immediate sensation and led to the studio's dominance in the animated market for many years.
It's just amazing how, like, not to say that Disney has not been groundbreaking and done very high quality, amazing entertainment, but there's something to be said for, like, we did it first, so we're the best.
Mhm.
It's like, here's this decent thing. Like, yeah, it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
But we were the first ones to do it, so we own this bitch now.
Mhm.
Yeah, there was some quote that I didn't put in because it was fucking dumb, but it was like, this is the single best animation of
Right.
all of humanity forever.
Human history. Yeah, it's like,
It was
oh,
in
okay, guy.
33.
Is
Yeah.
Mickey Mouse a dog or a cat or a rabbit?
Okay.
No one will know.
So Disney's Silly Symphonies series, God, combined musical scores with a revolving cast of new characters, including Pluto, Donald, and Goofy. So this is where they kind of tried out the new characters.
The
Mary,
recurring-
Mary fuck kill.
Oh my
Pluto,
god, okay.
Donald, and Goofy.
Ooh.
All right, well, I'm killing Donald because he's really fucking good. He's got that fucking voice. I can't. Goofy seems like chill as shit. I think I'd marry Goofy.
Hmm.
And was it Mickey? Was the other one? Mickey?
Pluto.
Pluto.
The dog.
Well, yeah, I'd fuck that dog.
I don't.
Sure.
It's weird that Pluto is Goofy's dog, but Goofy is also a dog.
Yeah. I realize now the gravity of my choice, and I stand by it. No takesy backsies.
Okay.
You really upped up.
I really did. I flubbed it.
I mean, I probably would say the same thing. I'm killing Donald for sure.
1,000%. One of the most annoying characters of all time.
I like Donald Duck.
Oh, God. Well, it's because your godfather's so into duck decoys. You have a kink.
Yeah, I'm drawn to the ducks.
Yep. I get it. That's deep rooted, and there's no separating you
I
from
like
it.
his jacket.
Yeah,
Jaunty.
he's got the look.
He's
Yeah.
got a
Don't get me
cute
wrong.
little. He's got a cute little like sailor bib thing.
Yeah,
He's
I
cute.
love a
He's just
man in
annoying.
uniform.
Sick.
You really do. Oh, I love it.
I might sleep with Goofy and marry Pluto.
Just to have a dog in the house that doesn't talk.
Yeah, and like the tall, lanky ones were definitely my type in college.
Yeah,
I just
Goofy
need
annoys the shit out of me.
Yeah,
I
so
guess.
it's like a
Goofy.
one and done. One and done.
I just need something that can have a conversation with me, or I'd go insane.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I couldn't live with a silent dog.
Mm.
I could.
I already have to force my husband to speak.
You kind of already live with.
Yeah, you
Pluto.
already
I can't.
do live with.
I can't
Pluto.
go with more silent. I can't do more silence. I can't. I am at my limit.
Your utmost limit.
My utmost limit.
So, Silly Symphonies was the first cartoon to be produced with the 3-color Technicolor process.
Ugh.
And I think they like bought the rights to Technicolor at some point, which was
Oh,
probably a
damn.
big deal.
So was Wizard of Oz a No.
I don't
Wizard of
think
Oz
so.
wasn't
That was
Disney.
Warner Brothers. Get it
wasn't-
right.
But it was in Technicolor.
Was
'Cause they
it?
had that? Yeah, they had that announcement at the beginning that's like in amazing Technicolor, and that was like the whole thing where it starts in black and white,
Mm.
and then once she gets to Oz, everything is in brilliant Technicolor, and it was like an early, not animated, like a live action that was actually in color.
Maybe they
Maybe
didn't
that's
buy
the
the
difference.
Technicolor. I could be wrong. I thought there was something about Technicolor. Well, whatever. But Silly Symphonies won a fucking Academy Award.
Wow.
And in 1933, the Silly Symphonies cartoon, The Three Little Pigs, won a fucking Oscar.
That's wild.
Standards were low in the early 30s. In 1934, Walt decided to begin production on their first animated feature-length cartoon, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, which premiered in 1937.
I fucking hate that movie, and I always wanted the hunter to just kill her because I found her voice so annoying. I was like, put us all out of our misery. Ugh.
It was also, that was the first movie where they like super changed up the style and had more realistic looking people, like humans.
Sure.
That sounds bad.
Leg mice. With,
Not anthropomorphized animal creatures.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then also the way they like did the dimensions of it.
Mm-hmm.
It appeared like a live action
yeah.
in terms of the dimensions. So that was kind of groundbreaking at the time too. And
well,
that
some
got
of
the
those
whole,
techniques are still used today where there will be like very detailed background, like scrim pieces that show like depth of field, but they're actually artistic, artist rendered flat surfaces. And then there's like live action stuff that's being performed in front of those things with like set pieces. Like they did that in the Barbie movie.
yeah.
It is definitely very groundbreaking technology and like and style. Super cool.
So meanwhile, the Disney staff found that merchandising the characters, so in particular Mickey, but also like Goofy and Donald and Pluto and blah, 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 would generate extra revenue.
Oh, yeah.
So Walt was offered $300 for the license to put Mickey on some shit that this guy in New York was manufacturing. And he was like, okay, I'll take $300.
Oh my God. Can you believe?
And soon everything you could think of had some kind of Mickey feature.
I mean, the kind of money that we know now literally didn't even exist then.
Right.
It's like he could never have known.
But still.
But $300? Come on, guy. Value your product, your IP a little bit more than that.
I'm sure they rectified it down the road.
It's not
just a
like
test
Walt was
balloon.
hurting.
Because it was kind of the first time that among the first times that this had really
This
taken
kind of, like,
off
merchandising?
anyway. Yeah.
Got it.
So then Walt, the first Mickey Mouse book and newspaper comic strip was published in 1930.
I can't believe there was a recurring Mickey Mouse newspaper comic. That's so weird.
He was going back to his roots. That's
Yeah,
where he
I
started.
guess.
Then Walt decided that he wanted something a little bigger, a little more experiential. So the idea
Submersive experience.
submersive. This idea came from Walt's experience as a father. He would take his 2 young daughters to different amusement places, such as like the carnival and the zoo and whatever. But he often found himself sitting on the bench, bored as fuck, while his daughters had fun doing their thing.
Little did he know, decades later, all of those benches would be like giant characters with like creepy mouths that the dads would be sitting on.
I
Yep.
was going to say, dude, zone out and look at your phone.
So he
You're
felt
blowing
like
it.
there should be a park where parents and children could have fun simultaneously, and the idea of Disneyland was born.
I'm not going to say they nailed it
I've never been.
because my parents did not have an amazing time at Disneyland.
I really enjoyed Disneyland when I went when I was 5, and my biggest memory was crying because we didn't get the pink teacup on the teacup prize.
Sounds fun. Sounds
I
like
cried.
your parents were probably loving it.
Yeah.
It was right after my sister was born, and my grandma took me and all my cousins to like get us away.
Soften the blow.
Yeah, it was a good time.
I sobbed after forcing my dad to wait in line to go on the Flying Dumbos with me, and we had to have waited in line like an hour plus. And then he tried to use the mechanism that would lift the Dumbo off the ground to make it actually fly up in the air while spinning around a pole. And I lost my shit because I was terrified of heights. So everyone else's Dumbo was like up high flying around with all these happy kids. And I was at the bottom wailing my fucking head off with my dad just like wanted to kill himself in the front of this fucking Dumbo.
It's just confirming my very tightly held belief that I will never go to Disneyland or Disney World.
Not when they're like that little. It's just not fucking worth it, dude.
I feel like if they're like 6, 7, 8 would be a great age.
10.
Okay.
Because they could pretty much fend for themselves and they could go on almost all of the rides at that point, and they're not little fucking bitches. I mean, they are, but in a different way, in like a preteen way.
Yeah,
Which
then
is
you
just
can
funny.
like enjoy your $25 margaritas in peace.
Mm-hmm. Because if they get a little lost because you looked away for a minute, it's like not that big of a deal when they're 10.
Yeah. Oh my God.
It's like, who's not a little bit lost at Disney World when they're 10?
So,
What?
no, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it.
I also went to Disney World, but I was like 13 or 14. That was a bit old.
Which is the one in Florida?
Disney World.
Yeah, that's the only one I've been to. I've never been to the California one.
Yeah, it's just that there's a point when it's a little bit old, but there's still something enjoyable. Like I really liked Epcot.
Epcot's cool.
I
went to Universal Studios like within the last 10 years, and that was sick. I liked that.
Yeah, it's a one and done for me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need to go more than once.
Not my tempo.
Okay, that's fair. That is fair. Disneyland in Anaheim, California was the very first of Disney's theme parks. It opened on July 17th, 1955, and the layout was modeled after the Main Street in Marceline, Missouri.
Oh my God.
Main Street, USA branched off into 4 different sections of the park. So they had Adventureland, Frontierland, Fantasyland, and Tomorrowland.
Wow.
That was
beautiful.
The four chakras. Adventureland, Frontierland.
Are you an Adventureland sign and a Frontierland sign? What are the other Earth, Fire, and Water?
Fantasyland Rising.
Fantasyland. I'm a Fantasy Rising.
Tomorrowland would be like your third eye.
Yeah.
After the first month, Disneyland was receiving over 20,000 visitors a day. And by the end of its first year, it had attracted 3.6 million guests.
Wow.
Damn.
Mm-hmm.
Instant hit.
Instant. Naturally, the next step was for Walt to consider opening another park on the East Coast using his successful Disneyland as a blueprint. The company purchased nearly 28,000 acres in Florida and opened Disney World on October 1st, 1971. So they opened fairly close together. Disneyland opened in 55. Disney World was not far behind. The Florida park had enough room to include a Magic Kingdom theme park, which was like a larger and more elaborate version of Disneyland. They had hotels, campgrounds, golf courses, and shopping villages. Building it cost around $400 million, which also in the 70s.
That's a lot of fucking money.
It was a big undertaking financially and literally. Before his death, Walt had already been focused on the second Disney World park, Epcot, which stands for Experimental Prototype Community of Tomorrow.
Jesus, that's a good trivia question.
Especially because it's not at all how it turned out. So he wanted to create the community of tomorrow and was quoted as saying that it will, quote, never be completed because it will always be exhibiting new ideas and technologies of tomorrow.
So you wanted it to be like a World's Fair kind of.
Well, it ended up being more of a World's Fair thing, but he wanted it to be like a place where people lived every day with like tomorrow's
Technology?
vibe.
Okay.
Yeah. So Walt Disney died on December 15th, 1966 at the age of 65.
Young.
Yeah, he was a very heavy smoker. He smoked a pipe and unfiltered cigarettes since his time in France during World War I.
So World War I did end up killing him just a little bit late.
Yep. He died of circulatory collapse caused by cancer.
Jeez.
His system just
Gave up.
gave in on itself.
Here for it. Respect.
He was fully cremated with his ashes interned at the Forest Lawn Memorial Park in Glendale, California. He was not, in fact, cryogenically frozen. Not even just his head.
Don't burst my bubble.
What would
Plenty
be the
of
point
people.
of just doing your head if you're beheaded?
Just in case the
It's the
technology
brain.
comes back to put you on a robot body that will never die.
Yeah, remember we did the cryogenics? What was that? Was that a drunk dive that I did?
No, I think maybe.
We
I don't
talked
know, it
about
was
cryogenics, but just the head is definitely a thing. It's cheaper.
Less storage space.
So after his death, his brother Roy, the one with tuberculosis, took over. He renamed the park from Disney World to Walt Disney World. He really was into his brother's name.
He's super into his brother.
Weird.
Brother lover.
The other brother.
The other brother.
And he changed Epcot to a bit more chill version of like a permanent World's Fair. So today when you go there, you can like go to Japan and Paris and I don't fucking all those other places.
You can drink around the world.
Is it all really cheesy stuff, or is any
I've
of
never
it
done Epcot.
like actual like imported goods from that country?
It is actual imported stuff. You can eat it. They've got like restaurants and bars and stuff, and they're all modeled after. They're all as authentic as you could do in South Florida.
That's cool.
Okay.
I mean, I liked Epcot. It was pretty fun.
All right. I'd consider it.
Yeah.
Next Orlando show.
Oh my God, Orlando.
Wild times. But my favorite case to ever happen. Kenyon's fucking dolphin fucking case.
The best. Nothing will ever
So
top that.
epic. No, it was absolutely incredible.
And when someone in the audience had read the book.
Yeah. Well, but she wouldn't confess it. Her date sold her out.
Yeah.
It was so funny, you guys. It was one of the best live show experiences we've ever had.
When people
Aired it, I think, right?
I think we did.
I think we did. When people ask, like, oh, you don't know what each other is talking about before your shows or before you
No.
record? No, bitch.
We really don't. And then
That one
Kenyon's
was
like,
wild.
vaginal slit on a dolphin. Okay.
I
Fucking go off.
I learned more about a dolphin anatomy
I
on
ever
stage.
Wanted to know.
Yes.
It's where the magic happens, baby.
It was incredibly informative. I really appreciate it.
I liked that venue too.
It really was great.
In 2014, the Disney theme parks around the world hosted approximately 134 million visitors. They make a lot of money. So here are some fun facts about Disney World. Epcot's aquarium at The Seas with Nemo and Friends is the second largest aquarium in the United States. Okay, so like I said, Epcot originally stood for Experimental Prototype Community of Tomorrow. It was meant to be a functioning city with 20,000 residents. And,
Wow.
and companies would use it as a testing ground for their latest technologies.
Weird.
So that was his intention. And then his brother was like,
No, we're just gonna
We're
do
gonna make
mini
a
countries.
lot of money.
mini
Yeah.
countries, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Ashes, people's cremains, get scattered in multiple attractions in Magic Kingdom, but the most popular place to spread ashes. Anyone
Wait,
want to
can we guess?
Yes.
Is it It's a Small World?
No.
Oh,
my
that'd be
God.
so good. If I knew I were floating on so many like human ashes, I'd probably like that ride a lot better.
It would make it less creepy somehow.
Probably.
I don't know.
Okay, that was my
Splash
only
Mountain,
guess.
Is that a thing? That's a thing I've heard of.
Oh.
It's not either of those. It's the Haunted Mansion.
No way.
Yeah.
Hey, at least people are having fun with it.
Yeah. And Disney World is the size of San Francisco or the size of 2 Manhattans.
Damn.
She big. Okay.
She big.
And like I mentioned at the beginning, the Magic Kingdom actually has a whole floor underneath it.
Ugh.
It's like technically the ground floor. So most people walk on the second floor throughout their visit. So the first floor, it's called the Utilidors.
Oh my God, what? I don't love the naming conventions.
Yeah,
I feel
I
like
really
they're
hate
all
knowing-
over the map.
I also really hate knowing what Epcot stands for. That the magic is gone.
What did you think it? Did you
I
think it
never
was just
thought
a,
about it. I never thought about it once in my life. I wasted. I never lost a wink of sleep thinking about it, and now it's ruined my life.
But still, the answer is disturbing.
It's awful.
Yeah.
It's just bad.
Yeah.
Experimental protocol,
prototype Community of Tomorrow.
City of Tomorrow or something.
Community.
Yeah-ish. Hate it.
Of 20,000. That was his intention. Oh my God. Okay. So the first floor is a series, or at least has a series of service tunnels called the utilidors. So the tunnels are utilidors.
Mm-hmm.
Rumor has it that when the Magic Kingdom was being built, Walt didn't want the magic surrounding the park to break for any reason. He wanted the cast members to travel between the lands without crossing other areas and like looking out of place.
Smart.
Like, why is Cinderella near Splash Mountain or whatever?
Right. Right.
He also wanted everyday things such as transporting trash and like ambulance, like medical crews.
Anything unseemly.
Yeah, to go unnoticed. Entrances to the utilidors are through doors known only to the cast members dotted throughout the Magic Kingdoms. There's like secret fucking doors.
That's cool.
The cast members park about a mile away and are transported to the tunnel entrance by Disney buses. Once they step into public view, they are quote unquote on stage and are not supposed to break out of character for any reason.
Ugh.
There's pictures on the drive, which will be on the blog, of like Mickey and Minnie walking through the tunnels.
Crying
like, even
over
in the
a dying
utilidor,
person.
they can't break character.
No, they can, but they're like co-workers. They're just walking next to each other.
They probably want to eliminate the risk of a kid seeing like Mickey smoking a cig
Right.
on break, like behind
Shooting
the
the
fucking
shit.
yeah.
Scram, kid. I
Get
got
outta here, you
12
little
minutes left of my break.
Yeah, you little fuck. Get out of here.
I also feel like there are multiple of each character throughout the park, but they like never ever overlap. Like you'd never notice.
I'm sure
Probably.
they have it all mapped out. They
It's
have
the
their
size
turf.
of San Francisco.
Yeah.
They probably have multiple people as Mickey.
So a little more about the utilidors. The tunnels occupy over 390,000 square feet of space underground.
Yikes.
So they're massive. The cast member cafeteria, which is down there, is called the Mouseketeria.
Ew, hate it.
Can
Boo.
you tour the utilidors or no?
God, no.
And is utilidor a word they made up for utility corridor?
Yeah, probably.
I hate it.
They also
Can we
call
just call them what a word that already exists?
They also call their like builders and designers, like architects, Imagineers.
No.
Hate it.
I hate it.
I hate it. It's too
The
cutesy.
names are too annoying.
Kenyon's gonna like this one. There is a
no.
there's a hair salon in the utilidors called the Kingdom Cutters with
No.
a K.
No. No.
So that characters can get their
Haircut.
characters' hairstyle or like just their regular.
I think it's just a service that they have. I don't know.
Cool.
Or like maybe just fix their wigs.
Oh my God. Okay.
Sure.
Sure. Why not?
And there is apparently a rumor that they have to listen to Disney music down there, but that's not true. They can listen to whatever they want.
I'd
We would not do well.
kill myself. I'd be out. Bye.
Speaking of death, this is why I wanted to cover Disney. And so I'm going to finish us out with what I wanted to talk about.
Great.
You may have heard the rumor that no one dies at Disney, but this is obviously untrue. Actually, a lot of people die at Disney.
Yeah.
It's a lot of walking and
Yeah. A lot of people of all different ages and like medical levels of wellness.
Yep. According to Inside the Magic, if something happens to a guest while on Disney property, they will not have the guest pronounced dead on site, but will allow medical professionals to do so after they've been removed from the property and are in the care of medical professionals.
We talked about this before.
Yeah.
And this is because once paramedics begin to attempt life-saving measures, they must continue unless they're instructed to stop by a doctor.
Right.
So-
So it's like, don't start trapped in this. Like, get them out of here. Get them off the premises.
Yeah. So
And
like
then if you got to open them up, it's not right in front of a kid, in front of a fucking, like, castle.
so people have been
Amanda's cackle. Amanda's losing.
the fucking trauma. You imagine.
Does anyone have a pen?
It's fucking Mickey Mouse doing a tracheotomy out of fucking.
Cinderella is a nurse, but she
Yeah.
can't break character.
No.
My wand.
Fucking old lady having heat stroke, can't breathe.
The heel of her glass slipper as a trach. Open her throat.
Open her throat.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Stay with me, Isabella.
Oh my God.
Don't go towards the light.
Holy shit. Dude, yup. Yup. Never mind. I want to die at Disney. This sounds awesome.
So this like no one being declared dead by like a paramedic is normal.
Mm-hmm.
So unless somebody was like pronounced dead, like, oh shit, that guy is cut in half. He is dead. Like they're pronounced dead at the scene.
Mm-hmm.
That's different. So we'll get to that. There have been a few incidents where people have been pronounced dead at Disney. Well, okay, so this is what I'm saying. The pronounced dead, like right there.
Mm-hmm.
In 1984, there was a plane crash in the Epcot parking lot.
What?
Mhm.
Unrelated to like just a plane?
It was a small,
Yeah.
like single propeller plane. It was a family flying from South Carolina to, I think, Kissimmee with the intention of going to Epcot for like the weekend.
I feel like I read about this when I was specifically looking into has anyone ever died at Disney?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So their plane crashed in the parking lot. So
Oops.
they technically did make it to Epcot, but
Oh my
Oh my-
God.
They're-
That's horrible.
so the man was pronounced dead at the scene, and a woman and a child died after being taken to the hospital.
That's horrible.
That really sucks.
Yeah. And then in 1985, a tour bus in the Disneyland parking lot crushed a young girl to death.
oh
What
my
the
God. Lucy.
What? I have way more.
Oh, great.
Here are some other deaths.
Let's.
Jesus Christ.
What? In 1977, a 4-year-old boy drowned in the moat surrounding Cinderella's castle.
That's
Good God.
horrific.
His parents sued for negligence and were awarded $1.5 million. I think there was like something wrong with
The railing.
the
or
railing.
something?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
In 1929, at a rehearsal at Disney Hollywood Studios, Indiana Jones Epic Stunt Spectacular! Exclamation point.
The naming.
This can't be good.
A 30-year-old performer named Anislav Yarbanov died after injuring his head while performing a tumbling role.
Ooh.
And they canceled the next day's performance out of respect for him.
The show must go on after one day off. Unpaid.
Corporate will lose income for one day after your tragic death on their watch, and then.
And a pizza party.
Seriously.
On November 5th, 2017, a runner in the Disney Wine and Dine Half Marathon. Why is that a thing? I don't know.
Hate
You
it.
wine and then dine and then run a half marathon.
Or
doesn't
run
sound healthy.
first.
I don't know. I don't have any information about the marathon. It just has a horrible name.
Boo. Hate it.
So this runner collapsed and died near the finish line, also in the Epcot parking lot. And then another
The Epcot
runner
parking lot is cursed.
And then another runner died 2 years later in the same wine and dine race, but like the 5K version of it.
Oh, Lord.
So just stop. I don't like this. This is a bad marathon. Cursed marathon. So like I said, a lot of deaths are because of people's own pre-existing conditions and not because of the rides themselves.
Yeah, it's like a cruise ship. It's like a lot of people are unwell and they
Right.
go on vacation.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Oh, this was really sad, but also kind of awesome. One kid died. He was like a Make-A-Wish kid,
Mm-hmm.
but it wasn't actually Make-A-Wish proper. It was like the Disney version of Make-A-Wish.
Uh-huh.
Oh, he died on Space Mountain.
No.
I mean, what a way to go, bud.
What a way to go.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Yikes.
This whole, all of this is bumming me
Really
out. But I
sad.
was emotionally very fragile before we began recording. So,
Well, I got one more for you.
okay.
Great.
In 2005, a 16-year-old girl from the UK rode the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror like a bunch of times and then had 2 heart attacks.
But she lived?
Yes, she tried to sue Disney for $15 million, essentially for the ride being too scary.
Hey, I am with her, okay?
Yeah, but
My parents took me on that shit. I still remember it.
I have not. Isn't that the dropping elevator?
Yes, it's awful. Awful. It's like she couldn't handle the Dumbos. Let's take her on the Tower of Terror.
But also this girl wrote it like several times. I don't know. So the lawsuit was dismissed.
Yeah.
And lastly, I think it's kind of dark that the closest hospital to Disney World where a lot of these people were pronounced dead is called Celebration Hospital.
Yeah, because like that entire, like basically the entire economy of that whole city is like rooted in Disneyland.
Well, yeah, think about how many people work there.
Yeah, so fucking all these naming conventions that are like adjacent to Disney stuff is so creepy.
I know.
What?
So that is my segment, little background on Disney for us.
There you
Great.
go. Well,
wow.
Well done. In my segment, we will get to more interesting statistics related to Disney.
Excellent.
Whether we like it or not, people, gift season is here.
Woo!
I, for one, love receiving gifts and get panic attacks over giving gifts because I'm not a great gift giver.
I don't mind giving gifts, but my problem is that I see the thing, I like the thing, I buy two of the thing, one for me, one for
the other person. Yeah. But, you know, that's why people like Brooklinen really make this so much easier to do, because even if someone's really picky or you've been burned by giving a bad gift in the past, who doesn't love cozy sheets, towels, robes, like encouraging someone to have amazing sleep?
What a gift!
Like the gift of a lifetime.
I am obsessed with Brooklinen and also their curated holiday gift guide. It has a range of really high quality products. They are suited for the whole family, so everyone that is on your list, whether it's a hug in blanket form to send to a loved one that's far away.
That would be really cute to put in a card.
Or like a whole spa day wrapped around your body with their super plush robes. Whatever it is, Brooklinen has got options to make this your easiest gifting season ever. Also, I got the phone call from my mom that was like, what do you want? What's on your list?
I know, I'm waiting for that email.
And I told her, I know that it's maybe strange to buy like summertime items around the holidays, but we don't have any beach towels. And Brooklinen makes amazing, gorgeous beach towels. And so that's what I told her to get me.
I love that. I love that. So check out Brooklinen's holiday assortment in-store or online at brooklinen.com. That's BROOKLINEN.com. And use code GALS for $20 off your order of $100 or more. That's BROOKLINEN.com with promo code GALS for $20 off. And treat your gifting.
Treat it. I have already raved about Rocket Money and on other ads, but there's really just not enough that I can say about it. It's changed, I would say, like my whole approach to budgeting and tracking my spending habits. One of my favorite things, I know that, you know, we talk about how great it is that they can help you find subscriptions that you forgot about, or maybe like you paid twice without realizing it and cancel those for you and just make it like really easy and painless to do that. But I love how they alert you when there is like a sneaky price increase.
Yeah.
To those subscriptions.
Yeah, it's an ADHDer's dream, I gotta be honest.
It's genius. Tell us more.
It keeps everything in one easy place, okay? So Rocket Money is a personal finance app that finds and cancels your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, like Kenyon said, and helps you lower your bills all in one place. That all in one place part, for me, is such a lifesaver. And I also have, like, major phone anxiety. I don't want to call all of these places to cancel my stuff. Let somebody help you with that. Let Rocket Money help you with that.
I want it all in an aesthetically pleasing app. That kind of feels like a game.
We're millennials. So with Rocket Money, you can easily cancel the ones you don't want with just the press of a button. No more long hold times or annoying emails with customer service. Rocket Money does all the work for you. Rocket Money can even negotiate, like Kenyon said, to lower your bills for you by up to 20%. All you have to do is take a picture of your bill, and Rocket Money takes care of the rest. They will find you the savings, baby. Rocket Money also lets you monitor all of your expenses in one place, recommends custom budgets based on your past spending, so they're like meeting you where you're at with your spending habits. And they'll even send you notifications when you've reached your spending limits just to help keep you on track. And with over 5 million users and counting, Rocket Money has helped save its customers an average of $720 a year. Now remember, that's an average. I'm for sure saving more.
Oh, I'm saving more.
And $1 billion in total savings so far among their users. I mean, that's just incredible. What are you waiting for?
Yeah, so stop wasting money on things you don't use. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and manage your money the easy way by going to rocketmoney.com/gals. That's rocketmoney.com/gals. Again, rocketmoney.com/gals, GALS, and treat your spending.
Treat it.
Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about the Magic Kingdom. Starting in October 2021, Disney World hosted an 18-month-long celebration commemorating its 50th anniversary. Which is 6 months too long.
That's so long.
The Magic Kingdom opened in 1971. We talked about that. It's got the 4 theme parks. It's got Epcot. We talked about all this. They average around 57,000 guests each day of the year.
No.
No, I'm good.
Do you have to buy a ticket for each section of the...
I have no idea.
You usually can get things that are like park hopper passes.
Oh.
At least that's what they do at Universal.
Okay.
Where like there are multiple parks, but you can either buy a ticket to the one park that you want to spend time in. So for some people, it's like Harry Potter World. If you want to only be there all day, then you don't need a park hopper pass. But then you could get the park hopper pass, and then you can go to any parts of Universal. So I imagine it's like that.
Okay.
So Magic Kingdom has the different themed areas. We talked about that. The only one I have listed that I think you didn't list is Liberty Square.
Good God.
Yeah.
What does that entail?
Don't know. Just on my
don't
list.
know, don't care.
Don't care. Okay.
It was put in after 9/11, probably.
Probably.
So Fantasyland has all of the recognizable Disney characters with rides. So like Snow White, Dumbo, yikes. The Little
Amanda's
Mermaid.
favorite.
My original trauma.
Beauty and the Beast, all that stuff. All the OGs. Like I said, I have never been to Disney World, but I have heard from people that it feels very safe there. And it has built this reputation for being a safe and clean place. You know,
Sure.
they're hustling in those utilidors.
It smells like farts everywhere you go.
Oh, God.
Well,
Can't clean fart.
I imagine there's a lot of like corn dogs.
Probably.
And the smell of a corn dog and the smell of a ripe fart are not dissimilar.
Plus, like,
No.
air travel.
Oh.
Yes. Yeah, the smell of like just an
Recycled
airplane
fart.
seat
Yeah.
cushion.
No.
And you're in Florida. The whole place
Yeah.
kind of smells like farts anyway.
Humid.
Oh,
Just
God,
there,
it's so
just
humid.
sits.
Lots of cheese curds.
Okay, so we'll set aside clean, but we'll go back to safe. Okay.
After I just listed all the deaths.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
But a lot of those were accidents, right? Like none of those were murders.
No.
Mm.
So the Disney company is known for having high standards for safety in the parks. Each cast member, attraction, and nighttime spectacular is vetted multiple times to ensure safety. It doesn't share all of its security measures, but they do have some information on the website. So they have like, obviously they have visible security throughout the park. So they have uniformed police officers. They also have like specially trained hazard detection canines in case I'm sure bomb
Something's
sniffing
off.
dogs.
Mm-hmm.
There are bag checks. They do random guest secondary screening through metal detectors. This started in 2015. There's safety stuff.
They make you go through TSA to get into these parks.
Yeah, which honestly, fair enough. Because I'm sure
US
they're a
is-
massive target.
Yeah, the U.S. is fucking riddled with mass shooter gun violence. You got to do this kind of shit.
So the hiring process is also very vigorous. After a person applies, they are invited to take an online assessment, which evaluates their cognitive, behavioral, and personality traits.
I want to take that just
Right?
for funsies. I love a good quiz.
And if the candidate passes that, this is the part that Amanda would not get to, they're invited to do a phone interview.
I could maybe pass.
And then after that, there's an in-person interview and then a group interview.
If Amanda interviewed, they'd be like, your personality perfectly matches Gaston.
If
You're
I
perfect
could get
for this
through,
role.
if I could get through the rigorous screening process for Cutco knives, I could do this. I can fucking do this.
Did you sell Cutco knives?
Yeah.
I never
you
sold
forgot
them.
That?
I guess.
I never sold them, but I got offered the job, and then they were like,
Oh, that's
to start,
right.
we'll give you a discount on the knife kit. And I was like, wait, you have to buy your own knife kit? Then I was like, fuck off. not doing this. Not doing this.
Such an encyclopedia salesman thing.
Yeah, I'm not buying all the knives.
An MLM, basically.
Yeah, I'm 17. I don't need these.
What am I going to do with all these knives?
Fucking
Someone
knives.
that fell for it and bought the knives, can you write in and let us know
Seriously, how many
your
tin
knives have
cans
held
you
up?
cut? Yeah, I want to know.
Okay. So they do all these interviews. So they do this online assessment. Then they do phone interview, in-person interview, group interview. Then they do a background check. They look at criminal history, employment history. They go through the character references. It's a lot, but I mean, it should be.
Extensive.
They're interacting with children.
Yeah, and
All
other
day.
vulnerable populations all fucking day.
Right.
You're also on all day.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd go a little batty.
So it's pretty safe, okay? Which made the recent massive uptick in violent crimes at Disney World's Magic Kingdom all the more surprising.
Weird.
And begs the question, how have we not all heard of this? How is this not the lead story on Fox News every night?
Right, especially given DeSantis v. Disney, which we'll get to.
Disney hell in Joe Biden's America at 7. Well, according to an investigation from NBC, Magic Kingdom's Fantasyland has had a massive uptick in the number of violent crimes reported within its boundaries in the year 2022. Very specific, too. The Magic Kingdom's Fantasyland.
Yeah.
This one spot.
But it turns out crime stats are easily manipulated things, and Disney's Fantasyland may have become an unwitting dumping ground for lousy crime stats that cops across the country just didn't feel like dealing with.
What?
Allow
Can
me
you
to
just
explain?
toss stats around?
When a crime takes place, police write reports that include details about the crime. Details like the date, the time, the location. So all the fucking basics, the suspects, whatever, the report.
Yeah.
Right.
But in Philadelphia, a secret system developed where if officers weren't sure about a crime's location,
Oh my God.
or if there were typos on crime reports, which made it impossible for them to determine the correct location of the crime,
Yes,
literally
Philly,
just
let's
a typo.
go.
Oh my God.
Officers in this police department would mark the reports with alternate GPS coordinates as a placeholder because, it's some online system. I'm sure it gets flagged, you have to
we
put
can
in
go back and fix
an
it.
answer.
There's a red asterisk.
Yeah. We've all encountered that. So they put in a placeholder and the preferred alternate GPS coordinates that they chose aligned to Fantasyland inside the Magic Kingdom.
Oh my God. What the fuck?
Yep.
This is wild.
This means that for the past 6 years,
What? That's how long this has been going on? Jesus.
A lot of reports of violent crimes that were happening in and around the Philadelphia area were marked down as happening just behind Cinderella's castle.
Oh my Lord.
Fucking God, I love it.
I hope Ron DeSantis did not get a hold of these reports.
Right. It turns out, more than 5,000 crimes, including 16 arsons, 50 homicides,
What?
and 298 auto thefts were all connected to Cinderella's castle.
There's no
No.
cars there. They don't even have
Fantasyland,
cars.
Magic Kingdom, Disney World.
Oh my God.
How did this go unnoticed?
Mm-hmm.
Or did people
So
notice it, but they just didn't fix it?
Well, I'm sure it fucked up a lot of the neighborhood stats that they're
Where the crimes were actually happening.
right. Exactly.
Mm.
Oh.
It also is just mentally very much a way to you can't brush things under the rug, but brush things onto the fucking magic carpet or whatever.
Absolutely.
Right, under the magic carpet.
Hundreds of miles away.
Yeah. So the decision may seem funny and whimsical at first, but it is much less so when the crime stat is an actual person that
Yeah.
you love and their murder is being taken
Right.
so unseriously that it's being listed as taking place at Cinderella's castle and just
Right.
left like that.
And it can't even continue to be investigated because this report card is just
No, I'm sure they were still investigating, but if things ended up there because of a typo and they're
Right.
not catching it,
Right.
how hard are they really investigating? You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
mm-hmm.
It's one thing if you don't know where it took place and you just need a placeholder, and we'll kind of get to that. But it also just is emblematic.
disrespectful. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So take, for example, Shaquille Barbour. He was just 18 years old when he was shot and killed while riding his bicycle home from the corner convenience store in his North Philly neighborhood in 2021.
Mm-hmm.
He had popped out to buy a hoagie and was just biking home.
Jesus.
But according to police records, the teenager was killed on the mean streets of Disney World.
Good God.
Oh my God. In Barbour's case, instead of logging his homicide as occurring in the 1700 block of 68th Avenue, because they knew exactly where he was killed,
Right.
investigators mistakenly logged it as the 1700 block of North 68th Street, which doesn't exist. And so the system was that address doesn't exist.
Default to Epcot.
Yeah.
Magic Kingdom.
God.
And since whoever was transcribing the case notes and typing the info into the digital case file didn't know the cause of the error, they didn't know why the address wasn't working, just that it was flagged. So they put in the default address instead.
Damn.
And I don't
so
know how
sad.
this came to light.
Yeah, this is a lot to untangle.
Right. Right.
Yeah. But somehow this all came to light. There were a bunch of articles about it, but it was all basically just regurgitating the same stuff.
It's probably looking up crime stats in Magic Kingdom,
Probably.
and then they're like, wait.
Or there's an aggregate program where you can look up crime stats and Magic
It's
Kingdom
by-
has a big red dot
Yeah,
on it.
Yeah.
50 homicides in this, half block.
Had to have been something like that.
Yeah.
So Shaquille Barbour's mother, Shanika Crawford, there's a photo of her on the drive, and she sounds like an incredible person and a wonderful, loving, and caring mom.
I think his name is just Barber. Do you know
Oh.
that it's Barbour?
Well, it's spelled Barbour. I don't know.
Oh,
I'm
I
sorry.
know someone named Barber that spells it that way. I'm just telling you.
She's wearing the dress.
Oh, the dress.
She's wearing
The dress?
the blue and black dress.
Amazing.
Icon.
Icon.
I love that.
Anyway, that's neither here nor there.
But
she's
pretty epic.
She's has wonderful words to say about her son, who was murdered in senseless fucking gun violence at the age of 18. So she said of this practice about the Magic Kingdom shit, quote, "It's hurtful. He got murdered on the street in Philadelphia. Like don't
Yeah.
fuck around
He's
with
really
my son's
cute.
death."
Yeah. I mean, as a loved one, I'd be fucking furious.
Yeah.
He was 18.
He was
Yeah, he's just a
18.
kid.
So the 6'6" Shaquille was described by loved ones as a gentle giant. And he weighed 11 pounds when he was born and
Wow.
cracked his mom's pelvic bone during delivery.
God,
God,
poor
no.
thing.
Yeah,
Oh, God. Can you even imagine?
I can
Yes.
imagine.
Well, yeah, you
We're
can.
both like, yeah.
By age 9, he was already playing football with kids 3 years his senior and still was outweighing and outpacing them.
Yes,
And the
King.
other parents were like complaining that he was allowed to play. And they were like,
Sorry.
I don't know what to tell you. He's 3 years younger than your kids.
Right.
Love
Fuck
that they
off.
named him Shaquille, too.
Yeah.
I love it.
But this is so sweet, you guys. Ultimately, it was Shaquille who chose to give up the sport because even though he was like so preternaturally gifted for football, and he did so because he was upset after one of his tackles accidentally injured the other player and caused that kid to have a seizure. And so he no longer wanted to play football after this incident because he didn't want to risk hurting other kids, and he quit.
Oh my
He saw how
God. What
violent it was.
What a sweetheart.
I know. He was also very protective of his mothers and sisters, even his older sister, and was, quote, like a second dad to them. And he had a great sense of humor. He was hardworking. He was enterprising. He took on odd jobs like cutting grass, cleaning at the convention center, clearing rocks at construction sites. And then he gave most of this income straight back to his mom to support his family.
Oh
Just
my
a good
God.
fucking kid. Wow.
Yep.
I was never that good.
No.
Don't hold a candle to this kid.
No, not even a little bit.
Way too selfish. And horrible at football.
Right. Absolutely awful.
Yeah, I'm bad at football. Shaquille's ultimate goal was to join the Marines and then eventually start a job training program for homeless people back home in Philly.
Wow.
But his life was cut short just 1 week before his high school graduation.
Oh my fucking God.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to tell us what happened to him?
He was shot riding his
But do we
bicycle.
not-
It was just totally random.
I don't know if it was totally random. They don't know who did it. We'll get to
It's
it. but
unsolved.
It's unsolved. Quote, this is from his mother talking to reporters. When I go in the kitchen and cook, I always think of him. I always think of him just dancing in the kitchen and then made it a thing where we were dancing in the kitchen while I was cooking.
Oh God, my heart.
I know.
Ugh.
So, yeah. And it's unsolved. Philadelphia is also not the only city that has done things like this with like the dumping ground for inconvenient.
Who else has fucking been doing this shit?
The Los Angeles Police Department
Oh, cool.
used to plot crimes with bad addresses to its headquarters, which at least
Its own headquarters. Well,
which
you're
apparently
closer.
that's an industry standard, and it's also an industry standard to place crimes with bad addresses at the GPS coordinates 00.
I was going to say, at least you could like flag it that was the issue a little
You should
easier.
be able
Right.
to just put unknown.
Right.
Yeah.
So the GPS coordinates 00 are in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean at
Cool.
an imaginary point called Null Island, which is
Oh my
not
God.
an actual bit of land. It is just
Bill and Amanda
imaginary.
Null.
I know.
I love it.
You do have your own island.
I want to move to Null Island.
There you go.
Bring floaties.
So again, back to just the choosing of Disney World for instead of 00 or unknown.
That's just cruel.
It really does feel cruel.
It's fucked up.
Yeah.
And so, okay, Robert Kane, who is the director of Drexel University, shout out, that's where Zach got his PhD.
Oh my God, cute.
Drexel's in Philly.
Love it.
So he's the director of Drexel University's Criminology and Justice Studies Department. And he said, quote, "It conveys the wrong message that a police department doesn't really care. I
Yep.
don't think you would want your crime or a crime committed against somebody close to you kind of minimized by the very agency that's supposed to be investigating and trying to make it right."
That fucking part.
Yep. And the police department kind of scrambled and is trying to like PR it and
Right, of
whatever.
course.
And so their director of research and analysis, Kevin Thomas, said that the location was chosen intentionally so that bad data would not muddle Philadelphia crime stats. Although it does.
But it still happened in Philly. You just don't know exactly
now
where in that area.
You're just magically erasing 50 homicides,
Right.
and 300 arsons.
Muddling.
Yeah, you might not know the exact coordinates, but it's happening there-ish.
And so he also claimed that this never affected the department's ability to solve crimes.
I'm sure it didn't. I'm sure.
Yeah, there are probably 0 crimes happening at imaginary Null Island. But like we said, there are crimes that do happen at Disney World. And so we don't want to conflate these.
Well, and there would certainly be at least petty crimes like some theft, pickpocketing. Like that shit's gotta happen there, even if it goes unreported. Upskirting. Why else am I going to Epcot? I'm here to upskirt.
So
I came here for one reason only.
to upskirt.
To upskirt.
Upskirt. No.
I will not abscond from upskirting.
Don't obfuscate the issue.
Yeah.
So months after this story broke, the Philadelphia Police Department started to plot inaccurate crime locations to 00. Null
to make it
Island.
clearer.
Yeah. Shaquille Barber's murder, which took place on June 6th, 2021, is still unsolved. There's a $20,000 reward for information, and you can call the Philadelphia Police Homicide tip line at 215-686-TIPS tips if you have any information. But
I really hope that they see justice, because that's just so fucking sad and senseless.
Poor Shaquille.
And I also want to shout out the Philly Obit Project. I got a lot of information about Shaquille from them. There was like this very detailed and warm obituary, and it can be really, really hard to find information about victims and all too easy to find information about perpetrators out there online. And so I just really appreciated that.
Yeah.
I liked
the picture that you painted of him.
Yeah. Well, they painted it. And so I want to thank them for that.
That's amazing. What a resource.
Yeah.
Who knew? Well, what a weird situation. I feel like I have much less of an issue with 00 whatever coordinates, zeroed out coordinates, because that to me indicates like, okay, we don't have a location.
Yeah.
Right. This location isn't real.
It's like XX.
Yeah. This is very obvious that we need to come back to this after further investigation or whatever.
Funny.
It's not funny. It's not a silly place that it actually exists. I just, God, I really feel for that, for families of victims that has happened to.
Yeah.
It's hard enough without people fucking around.
So they have gone back and fixed that, did you say? Or
Philly has changed their policy now, supposedly, and they're tracking them to Null Island.
Golly. All right. Well, good to know. All right. Should we hear a little word from our sponsors before we move on?
Yes.
I don't know. If you know me, everyone in my life is having babies. Guilty. I'm not even having kids, and I'm up to my eyeballs in baby. Okay. But, I love baby photos. I am obsessed with babies in little costumes, little outfits. It's like my favorite thing. And it's gift giving season, babes. So why not give the perfect gift to the person in your life who either maybe just became a parent, a grandparent, or is maybe everyone's weird aunt, me, who wants like a constant flow of all of my friends' family photos in my kitchen, just scrolling at all times. And that is why Skylight Frames is like the best thing ever to give us a gift this season.
It really is. I have given Skylight Frames as gifts to a lot of people in my life, and it's been a huge hit. So the Skylight Frame is a touch screen digital picture frame that you can send photos to straight from your phone. They appear in seconds. It's a really perfect gift for like grandparents or new parents. I've given it to Zach's grandma. It's really easy for her to use. It's intuitive. She loves it. She raves about it. The touch screen is a game changer. So you just swipe through photos. You can tap to see the new photos that are sent. You can tap the heart button to say thank you to the sender. So it's like still like a little bit interactive, which is so delightful. It also just looks beautiful in your home. So like there are a lot of other digital frame brands out there that are quite tacky looking, I will say.
Yeah.
And Skylight Frame is not that. The photos are displayed in HD resolution. It looks, though, like a real photo frame. And you can set it up in either portrait or landscape. They have 2 different sizes. They got the original 10-inch or the larger 15-inch gallery frame. It's just, it makes sense. It's a great gift. Way better than social media. More private if you don't want to share photos of your kiddos everywhere.
That's so sketchy.
Yeah. And as a special limited time offer for our listeners, get $15 off your purchase of a Skylight frame when you go to skylightframe.com/wine. To get $15 off your purchase of a Skylight frame, just go to skylightframe.com/wine, WINE. That's skylightframe.com/wine. And treat your loved ones.
So there are a lot of roads I could have gone down with this topic, but why on earth would I pass up an opportunity to shit on Ron DeSantis?
Thank God.
Nice.
Yeah.
I was very tempted.
Yep.
I'm glad you're doing it.
Thank God.
So I'm going to be recapping the DeSantis versus Disney feud for my segment, which is objectively hilarious. And he's probably going to lose in court.
His face is hilarious.
It's nuts. Okay, so it all began in March of 2022 on the cusp of the Florida government passing the Parental Rights in Education Bill, commonly referred to as Florida's Don't Say Gay Bill. The bill itself has a seemingly benign title, Parental Rights in Education. But as we soon learned, the bill focused on limiting instruction on gender identity and sexual orientation from kindergarten to 3rd grade, then to 12th grade in like the second passing of it, and enabled parents to more easily sue schools should they catch wind of any lesson plans, books, classroom posters, colorful flags, pins, conversations, etc. Education.
I saw a new one today where parents wanted to ban a book because the author's last name is gay.
What?
The author's last name is Gay, gay.
Wow.
Yeah.
America sucks.
Super sucks.
Yeah.
Great. Thanks. I hate it. It's fucking great.
I just,
Yeah, let it out, honey.
I'm just rubbing my face
Yeah.
so hard right now. I need to stop.
I can hear it through your microphone.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Rub, rub, honey, rub.
Not literally, just
Rub,
yeah.
rub.
Up.
So it's basically like anything that makes parents feel uncomfy, they can sue
Anything
the
that
district.
doesn't align with their theocratic,
Correct.
puritanical, made up bullshit.
Homeschool then.
Yeah.
Homeschool.
We
Yep.
have like no guardrails for homeschooling in this country.
None.
Like if you have these very specific requests for your child's education, then
By
you
all
have to do
means.
it.
Yep.
Teach them.
Have fun. Bye.
Obviously, this legislation is incredibly homophobic. It's anti-trans, and many children start to explore and discover their gender identity in these formative years in school, and are now not safe to discuss or explore that at all in Florida schools. Not just Florida schools. I mean, there's legislation like this in states around the country. So we're shitting on Florida today, but it's not an isolated incident. So Disney, the largest employer and one of the top state taxpayers in Florida, had been largely silent on this issue until their CEO was pressed to make a statement, because there's like a grillion queer people that work for Disney, doy. So from Time magazine, quote, facing an internal uproar after not taking a stand on the controversial law. Like I said, surprise, Disney staff is soups queer, so they had feelings about this and knew their employer had power to oppose it. Former Disney Chief Executive Officer Bob Chapek says he opposes the legislation. So he comes out and says this. He tells investors that he called Ron DeSantis that morning to, quote, express our disappointment and concern. He said DeSantis agreed to meet with Chapek and LGBTQ members of the Disney team. Chapek said DeSantis told him the law would not be weaponized to target the LGBTQ
The
community.
law is a weapon targeting
Correct.
the LGBTQ community. There's no way to further weaponize it. It's done.
Yep. So, LOL, okay, guy. Despite being one of the largest economic contributors to the entire state economy and pushing DeSantis to reconsider signing this bill into law, he signs it anyway on March 28th, and Disney is vocal about their disappointment and concern. The same day, Chapek announced that Disney would be pausing all political donations in Florida in response to the passage of the Parental Rights and Education Bill. DeSantis, who I don't even think was getting money from Disney, but like he is about to run for re-election and knows that he wants to run for president.
Yeah.
So he's like,
It's just
Pissed.
a platform
Hidden
thing.
high heel cowboy boots.
oh my
What?
God, his
Have
lifts.
you
Hold on.
seen-
Hold on. Just Googling
He has the
DeSantis
most.
lifted
That's
shoes.
gender affirming care.
It is gender
Ron.
affirming care.
Yeah.
It is gender affirming care. Yeah, you piece of shit.
Mm-hmm.
But the images are shocking.
They're just really ugly shoes.
They're not fucking cute.
Yeah.
It's like,
They're just lifts.
yeah.
But they're like hidden. It's like the Steve Madden wedge boot.
There's one picture that I can't find that's really, really weird. The ones I can't find, he's usually, oh, here it is. He's usually in some like version of a cowboy boot that has a heel. And I guess men are like, this is fine. I'm not toxic. But then any other kind of heel, they're like, oh, Jesus Christ. So there's one picture that I just put on the drive, which will be on the blog, where it's like zoomed in on his shoes. He's like at a debate or something, and they just look bizarre. And it just says, tell me he's not wearing hidden heels. Like his toes are all curled up.
Yeah.
Something's
Totally.
off.
They look like wedges.
It's not
Yeah.
a good look, boss man. Not here for it.
Yeah.
And I'm here for gender affirming outfits, care. If you want to feel taller, great. But not for Ron fucking DeSantis.
No.
The
He's a
issue
piece of
is
shit.
not what he chooses to wear on his own body. The issue is
Correct.
that he then criminalizes and vilifies it on other people
Mhm.
and tries to keep it hidden.
Oh my God.
Yup. Piece of shit. So DeSantis responds to this in an incredibly mature and reasonable way. And now, I want to be clear. I'm not saying I agree with the fact that Disney operates under like special tax jurisdictions. They're a huge corporation.
Like a
You don't-
church.
Kinda. You don't we'll get to it. It's a little confusing, but like Disney is a massive corporation with literal billions of dollars. You know, you don't get there by being perfect. But like in the Disney versus DeSantis universe, I'm gonna be team Disney every fucking minute of every day. So I didn't have time or like the spoons to dig into all of the details of what this tax deal entails. But what I do know is that this was established in 1968 and included legislation that gives Walt Disney World Resort essentially its own government. Since Disney moved to Florida in the 60s, the park has been able to operate its own government, providing its own services for things like fire, roads, and water. And like security, I think they have some of their own police because it's like the size of two cities.
It's like
So
the
it's a
Vatican.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a corporation that runs a city.
Yeah, they have their own sewer system. They have their own whatever
Yup.
because they
So
want
they
to be
have
on
to
top of
do-
it all. They can't afford to have it be down one day.
Correct. They
Yeah.
can't, and they can't wait for like taxpayer funded government upkeep that has to be like voted on within a budget and like a
Like
council.
Trash on Thursdays.
Right. To
Right.
be like, no, this road is falling apart. We're fixing it now,
Right.
immediately, because we have the funds to do that. And now, essentially, what this tax deal, it gives them the jurisdiction to be able to operate in that way without needing to seek city support. or like taxpayer
They
funded.
also like don't have schools.
No.
You know, like they don't
They
have
don't have schools.
There's like
They don't
a
have a
Disney
hospital.
Like they don't have,
Yep.
yeah. And it
No.
does make some
It makes sense. They're dealing with their own maintenance and upkeep. They're dealing with some of their own security, some of their own fire maintenance, but there are still going to be like fire responders, but they have some that they employ and like their own like fucking fire hydrant system to water. They have their own.
I don't think they're a drain on their surrounding community.
No. They absolutely aren't. And that's the whole reason that like this tax jurisdiction works for a park of this magnitude.
They're saving their community money by doing
Frankly,
it themselves.
They literally are. And like, I'm sorry, but Orlando's already a huge place.
Like they should still be paying some taxes,
and they are.
And this makes sense.
They are paying taxes. So like that's not what the deal is, but they probably do get some special, tax breaks because they're not using regular taxpayer funded services for things like water, road maintenance, etc. Sanitation that other taxpayers are. So there probably are some breaks. But so like it makes a lot of sense. It's a huge space. It functions like a city, but it's all privatized and ticketed and like managing routine maintenance as well as emergency services. And it makes that stuff a lot easier if Disney can just hire those positions internally and not have to rely on state and local government. They're still one of the top taxpayers in the state. Unlike conservative Republicans and former Republican presidents, Disney paid over $1.1 billion in state and local taxes in 2022 alone.
Oh, for God's sakes.
And obviously that's not just out of their pocket. Like we've done our taxes and we owe $1.1 billion. It's like everyone buying shit and paying taxes on what they buy in Disney World, et cetera. But they're a huge, like the highest contributor to state tax in Florida, period, full stop.
Just think about the sales tax alone.
It's the crux of the majority of their economy.
Right.
They employ so many fucking people. Right. And like tourism is massive for Florida's economy. So DeSantis is like, bet, and introduces a law that will strip Disney of this longstanding special tax and operations jurisdiction.
He literally just got like the bit in his teeth because Disney
said we don't like this. We're not happy with you for this. And we're going to withhold funding for the rest of the year.
We're gay.
Yeah.
Because we have a ton of gay people that work here.
It's okay
and this
to
legislation
say gay.
Sucks. Yep. And in the United States, in terms of free speech, corporations are covered by the same like right to free speech as an individual person. So Disney as a corporation is allowed to come out and say whatever the fuck they want. It might hurt their business.
Seriously.
But they aren't doing anything wrong by being like, hey, man, this sucks and we don't agree with it.
And the Supreme Court already decided that corporations are people and money is speech.
Exactly.
So really, this is a Republican wet dream.
Yeah. So good luck, DeSantis.
Too fucking shay.
On April 22nd, DeSantis signs the law to strip Disney of its self-governance privileges, which are under the umbrella of a like company/board called Reedy Creek, and we'll get to it. And so he signs this law that strips them of those privileges as of June 1st, 2023, and makes a statement, quote, if Disney wants to pick a fight, they chose the wrong guy. Like he said this publicly.
Okay.
So he literally came out and said, oh, you don't like this law that I just signed? I'm gonna fuck with you. Which is not smart to admit to and say out loud and then act on.
Yeah, said the quiet part out loud.
I'm shaking in my lifted boots. So on April 22nd, as promised, DeSantis signs a bill that dissolves Disney's special jurisdiction, as well as giving himself, DeSantis, special powers to elect a governance board over Disney.
Do you want a magic wand?
Pretty much. This is a 5-seat board of DeSantis's choosing, and it also, anyone on the board he made this rule. He's like, you can't have worked with any theme park in the last 3 years, because I got burned by theme park people. Which, like, makes so much sense on a board overseeing operation of one of the most massive theme parks of all time.
You can't know anything about the topic.
Yeah, I'm limiting bias by keeping you completely in the dark and in my pocket.
In the final meeting of the original board under Reedy Creek, before the DeSantis appointees took over, because they had time to get their affairs in order and then do the exchange.
I love this.
The board running the Disney district quietly signs contracts that would limit the powers of the new municipal authority that will govern its Florida theme parks for years. No one on Team DeSantis noticed this until they got in there and tried to operate as intended and realized that they couldn't.
Wait,
so
what?
I'll explain this. So they're like, dude, we can't govern because of these changes. And I wanted to know more about this Disney power play. I'm not nearly smart enough to break it down myself. So I'm going to read a news article about it for you, or part of one, from Florida's own WFTV9. So here's what happened. In their final days of controlling the Reedy Creek Improvement District's board, which, again, Reedy Creek was the name of the governing entity for Disney, that DeSantis dissolved to appoint his own. So Reedy Creek is the one that's overseeing, like, oh, we need this repair. Okay, we're going to put funds toward this road or this fire, shit. Like this waste management, whatever. They're in charge, but they are a private entity that works with Disney.
Okay.
Disney executives and attorneys found a way to poison the authority of the incoming members appointed by Governor Ron DeSantis and effectively oversee the area's development. So on February, for Reedy Creek, or the original setup to maintain overseeing of the development of Disney, is they slipped in
At the
some
last
of this
minute,
shit.
they had
Last
this little
minute.
contract, this
The
little
day
clause
before.
that was like, actually, the new incoming body can't do X, Y, and Z.
With any of this without Disney's approval. So on February 8th, 2023, as the Florida House was passing legislation to give DeSantis his new power, as it's being signed, Reedy Creek's board members signed a development agreement with the company that allowed Disney maximum developmental power over its territory for the next 30 years. According to the new board members, who are now known as the Central Florida Tourism Oversight Board, and their attorneys, Disney is allowed the maximum possible density and building heights inside Walt Disney World. And I guess Disney had billions of dollars in development contracts already started and signed. Like, they are working on an expansion.
Mm-hmm. And they didn't want Ron DeSantis's board to fuck all that up.
Yup.
Yeah.
So basically, they cut the new board off at the knees on upcoming Disney projects that included the potential building of a brand new Disney campus. Like a whole new fucking Disney park.
Oh my God.
Billions of dollars. Billions of dollars.
I shouldn't be rooting so wholeheartedly for this massive corporation. But
that's what I'm saying. It's
when
so
the
tough.
other side is Ron DeSantis, how
Team
makes
Disney.
It's a little easier.
Yeah.
So other property owners will need Disney's permission to expand within existing Disney World and the Disney district. So any of the surrounding campuses that aren't just part of the park are still, they can't touch them without Disney's permission. And they and Reedy Creek leaders will need to seek Disney's approval if they made any aesthetic changes to their properties within the existing district. So they can't do shit.
Oh my God.
Quote, we lose control over everything other than to maintain the roads and maintain the infrastructure, one board member said. Board members said they found out about the agreement after their appointments.
Yeah, have fun. What a fun, interesting job you're about to have.
So excited to start this new job.
Yeah. Both they and their newly appointed attorneys called the agreement various synonyms of insane and extreme and said its sheer scale would make it null and void. Particular focus was paid to one section, this is amazing, to one section that board members said places certain restrictions on the district until 21 years after the death of the last living surviving descendant of King Charles, or until Disney abandons the resort.
Yeah.
What does King Charles have to do with this?
Absolutely nothing.
Oh,
Absolutely nothing, but his family line will continue.
So
They're
I
just
read
fucking with
about
them.
this, and apparently there's some law, there's something about how you can't just you can't say in perpetuity.
Right.
Oh, there has to be a limit.
There has to be a limit.
So these were their stipulations. Either 21 years after the death of the last surviving descendant of King Charles.
Of which there are
many.
So that will, unless there's a nuclear event.
Yep. Or until Disney decides of their own volition to abandon the resort.
Which is equally as likely.
Unlikely, yeah.
Yep. So, quote, we gave governmental control to Disney, Brian Ongst summarized. Other board members were harsher in their assessment. Disney tried to be king for a day, Chairman Martin Garcia said, referencing the company's most famous park.
No, Disney's going to be king for
forever.
Yeah.
Forever.
That's so sneaky.
It's so sneaky. It's brilliant. Board members hired multiple politically connected law firms to represent them and analyze the agreement and discussed bringing on as many as 4 different firms to battle the deep-pocketed company as they attempted to unwind this agreement.
Mm-hmm.
Garcia referenced taking it all the way to the United States Supreme Court if necessary. Some board members said they hoped Disney executives and attorneys would be willing to come to the table and reach a compromise agreement before any legal steps were taken, though others weren't as optimistic. And the others who were not optimistic were correct. Disney's like, no.
So I also read that, like, if Ron DeSantis's new incoming board members had caught it in time, they could have stopped this clause from going into effect.
They would have had to renegotiate the contract before they signed it.
But they missed it. And
they didn't fucking read it.
Yeah.
I guarantee you they didn't fucking read it.
All of that. That's a lot to miss.
They were handed paper. DeSantis didn't fucking read it. And DeSantis went, here's your new cool job.
Because he thought that he had stuck it to them and he had won.
Correct.
Oh my God, this is amazing.
I mean, this is how Minnesota got legal marijuana. Because some idiot Republican didn't read the fucking bill, the contract. So, like, read the contract.
Don't.
Yeah.
Republicans, don't read that.
Don't read. Like, smart and not evil people read the contract.
You're busy.
No.
Sign it.
The people listening to this podcast, I don't have to be concerned about. The people we don't want to read the contract are not listening to this podcast.
Right.
So I'm not too worried about
If
it.
you're
But it's just
listening
so,
to this podcast, read the contract.
Yeah. But tell your conservative uncle that he doesn't have to read it. It's fine.
At least get a page to read it.
Seriously, hire someone else to read it. Like, that's why you have we have a lawyer look over everything.
And
we're not gonna fucking read it.
No, we still read it.
We do read it, but we're not gonna understand
but at least
it.
We still read it.
I read it. I just don't absorb it because it's legalese.
We do not get it. So we have someone smart.
If I saw the words King Charles in a contract, that's a red flag.
Yeah, I feel like
Obsessed.
you don't need a law degree to at least highlight and
Flag
up until 21 years after the last surviving descendant of King Charles.
It's my favorite part of the entire sneak. Like,
of
all of it's
Florida.
great, but it's the best fucking thing. So DeSantis obviously has another tantrum, and this time he vows to undo the changes that the old board had made, and then plots ways to fuck over the theme park, including
This is
threatening
what you
to...
want your governor to be spending all of his time on.
Yup.
Yeah, and I'm starting to think that Florida Republicans just can't read.
Maybe.
That's why they're banning books.
Maybe. I don't want to get caught not being able to read.
I'm anti-words.
Mm-hmm. So DeSantis made threats to impose taxes on nearby hotels, add tolls to roads leading to Disney properties, and possibly build a prison near the company's theme parks.
Parks are
Quote,
so big. What do people even care?
I know, no one, I mean, and people already pay out the ass to go, so it's like, okay.
They also have crazy high walls and obviously a shitload of security.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, he's
would
just
make it
talking out
any
of his
less
ass.
desirable.
He's not going to do any of this.
No. Also, have
Any of
fun
it.
building a huge prison complex.
Right.
He would, but yes.
Yeah, he would have fun doing that.
Put
But
all-
he's also,
to put
again,
all the
he's
gay teachers in.
right. He's not going to do any of this. He's just being a fucking blowhard.
Yeah.
So he goes, who knows? I just think the possibilities are endless. I'm a little fucking weasel. I'm a fucking worm. Me and my presidential running mate, Tom Sandoval, are going to fucking make America great again. Anyway, ew. So basically wanted to tank his own state's largest employer and state tax contributor because they spoke out against hateful legislation. So DeSantis tried to dissolve the new development contracts entirely, which triggered Disney to file a lawsuit because it's like, we had these contracts already negotiated, signed, and they are in the works for development, expansion, etc. And now DeSantis is, after they signed this new fucking shit, trying to dissolve those contracts. So they're like, nope, we've been waiting for you to do this, basically. We knew you'd figure it out.
Yeah, we're losing money not being able to continue on with our development.
So now we're going to fucking sue you.
Yep.
So in April of 2023, they filed their lawsuit claiming the governor launched, quote, a targeted campaign of government retaliation against the company over differences of political opinion, which is just true.
Yeah.
The original lawsuit sought to ask that the legislative declaration, aka stripping of their self-governance, be deemed unlawful, ask for Disney's property rights back, and ask for the state laws passed in independent special districts to also be declared unlawful.
Mm-hmm.
They also included attacks on their freedom of speech, alleging that all of these sweeping legislative changes to the state's relationship with Disney were a direct act of retaliation.
Yep.
Because they were. As of last month, Disney offered to drop the contract claims from this larger lawsuit and just for now pursue the federal level freedom of speech issue, mostly because those contract disputes were already being addressed in lower courts. So from the Hollywood Reporter, quote, after DeSantis moved to dismiss the suit entirely in June, Disney responded by saying, well, we're not going to drop it, but we can drop the non-First Amendment claims because, quote, the validity of Disney's contract-based claims is being actively litigated in the pending state court action. So, like, we're dealing with that on the side. We could take that out, but we're moving forward on the freedom.
Still going to sue you for retaliating against us because we exercised our freedom of speech.
Freedom of speech, correct. So the company explained, quote, in order to spare the inefficiency of litigating contract validity simultaneously in two forums, one of which being a fucking federal court, Disney's Second Amendment complaint eliminates the 4 contract-based counts from this action. The remaining claim, challenging the law reconstituting Reedy Creek with the governor's hand-picked Central Florida Tourism Oversight Board of Supervisors as a retaliatory weaponization of government in violation of Disney's First Amendment rights, can be fully adjudicated here, no matter how the state court rules on Disney's contract claims. The judge they offered that to, her name's Margaret Schreiber, she denied the motion to dismiss the countersuit, ruling that, like, Disney can't shut down the state case and focus on the overlapping federal one. Like, it's all just going to be, it's part of the original filing. We're doing all of it.
Oh, okay.
So she also refused to put the state case on hold until the federal lawsuit was decided. So she's like, if that stuff's already being duked out in court, continue on. This is, we're keeping this as is.
And
figure it out.
We'll do ours.
So DeSantis was like, why don't you just drop it all entirely?
He's scared.
And he's out here being like, I think we've all moved on. And Disney's like, nah.
Because we backed you into a corner, you moron.
It's also a pretty important precedent to, like, set.
So Disney's like, no, it's fine. We will definitely just duke this out in multiple district courts. We have the resources. And they threatened to tack on additional suits relating to public record requests that have gone undelivered by the state. So this is from the New York Times. Quote, Disney disclosed that Mr. DeSantis and 6 state entities had not complied with public records requests made in May by the company's lawyers as part of the discovery process in these court cases. Disney sent letters to the governor's office and the other state entities saying that the company would sue each entity under Florida's Public Records Act unless the requested materials were made available by September 6th. I can't wait to tell you what the requested materials are. It has now been nearly 4 months since our request, and we have yet to receive any of the requested records or any substantive response asserting valid exemptions. So this is from this guy named Adam Losey. He's the Orlando lawyer that's working for Disney. Disney has requested, quote, all documents and communications, including but not limited to text messages, signal messages, and WhatsApp messages on any devices with the keywords Disney or mouse, among many others, according to the letter.
Yes! I want every single one of DeSantis's WhatsApp messages regarding Disney
WhatsApp
or mouse.
signal, Disney or mouse.
Good code work, dude. Code word.
Because you know he wasn't using any code.
Yeah.
So that would probably
he
ping
said all
a ton of
kinds
fucking results.
incriminating shit.
I'm sure it's like with an abuser. If they're doing something out in the open that seems bonkers, what they're doing behind closed doors
is way worse.
Even more bonkers.
I'm sure he's talking all about how this is all part of his big election strategy, which didn't turn out so hot for him.
I'm obsessed, and I
Taking
really
a
hope that
stand.
we
This is his
get.
soapbox.
FOIA the fuck out of Ron's phone.
Yeah, I really hope we get these messages in this public record request.
And then I hope they find out that he deleted a bunch and he gets an obstruction of justice charge.
Yup. It'd be so amazing. So Disney, I can't see any new lawsuit filings from Disney. I can't see any updates yet. Everything is in like active litigation. So in terms of this records request, I don't know what's going on with it. Disney either got their requested records or didn't, and this was an empty threat, or they're prepping to file these 6 additional suits because they gave them until September 6th. That was barely a month ago. So they could still just not have sued for those yet. And it just isn't done yet. So, like, we don't have any new news. As of yet, no one has won. But, like, definitely a lot of people looking, you know, like, legal analysts are looking at this case and are like, DeSantis really did kind of fuck himself because he said all this stuff at, like, rallies and...
He started the whole fucking thing.
He started the whole thing and he repeated it in interviews and he's, like, made it... Yeah. And he's, like, made this retaliation against Disney a huge part of his platform. And it's very clearly directly linked to Disney speaking out against the Don't Say Gay bill. So it's like all of the court documents that I've read, it's all just using DeSantis's own statements against him. Like, that's just Disney being like, hi, we said this, which is within our right to say. And then he did all of this and bragged about it.
To target us. Yeah.
Yep. And then we fucked him over and now he's mad about it because he doesn't realize who the fuck he's dealing with. This guy is an idiot, and Disney has, like, definitely covered some shit up. I guarantee it. No one with that much, no conglomerate with that much money hasn't, like, been involved in something shady.
But
So,
that's
like,
not
they know what
we're
they're
talking
doing.
about today.
It's not what we're talking about. I'm just saying they have the resources to fucking bury Ron DeSantis if they want to.
That's kind of what I was thinking with all these deaths that were like, oh, it was a pre-existing condition, or like OSHA didn't find anything malfunctioning with the rides. Like, okay, you got a lot of money there.
Nah, it's much simpler than that. It's like an old person could die at their retirement home, but if an ambulance is called and they're not pronounced dead at the retirement home and they're pronounced dead at the hospital, then that's where they on paper died.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it could have
been shadier.
Yes, and
I found
Yes,
a whole
and.
Wikipedia page. It is very long of quote unquote incidents on Disney
read it
property.
Next drunk dive.
I just picked the good ones.
I mean,
love it.
140 million people a year cycle through that shit.
Yeah,
Half
That's a
the
lot.
country.
they're gonna die.
Shit's gonna happen.
Yeah. Anyway, that's Disney v. DeSantis. Team Disney.
Fuck that Florida fascist.
Piece of shit.
Oh my god, that was so funny. This is way funnier than I thought.
I there was so little that I knew about, like, the little stabby jabs from, like, Disney. When I read that shit, I was like, oh my god, this is fucking amazing. Like, I knew that, like, I had gotten the blanket, like, oh yeah, the former board fucked over the new tourism board, whatever, but I didn't know what had happened. So this was an absolute joy. Thank you for the opportunity, Lucy.
My pleasure.
All right. Well, we'll talk to you next week.
See you later.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to Wine and Crime. Our cover art is by Kala Yip, music by Phil Young and Corey Wendell, editing by Jonathan Camp. Check out our website and blog at wineandcrimepodcast.com. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Wine and Crime Pod. If you have questions, answers, or recommendations to share, email us at wineandcrimepodcast@gmail.com. Episodes are available on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, basically wherever you get your favorite podcasts. And if you like the show, please rate, review, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts. It is the best way to spread the word. If you'd like to show your support, visit our Patreon page to keep this podcast and the wine flowing. Cheers!
Did you miss your deadline to renew your Medicaid coverage? You can still send your completed annual review form to Healthy Connections Medicaid. You may be assigned to another health plan, but you can ask to come back to First Choice within 60 days of renewed Medicaid eligibility. It's your family. It's your choice. First Choice is the right choice. Renew and choose us. Visit selecthealthofsc.com/renew to learn more.